Agony and rage mixed, blending together in the mist. One couldn't determine if the smoke was responsible for the madness, or if the cries of agony spewed forth the smoke. Are you researching machines now? That's great, now I can really see what a jack of all trades can do. To be frank, I thought I was pretty great too. But now, watching you makes me think I was terribly full of myself. It's the B, not to be confused with B or B from this playthrough. Would it be alright if I helped you? I think I would make a serviceable assistant. It's good that you're up and passionate again. It is an honor to take part in a project with a scholar I respect. Is something the matter? Are you okay right now? The truth is, you were not actually okay at all, were you? If a ray of sunlight breaks your heart and collapses your mind with longing and nostalgia, and seeing plants outside evokes an unknown rage tearing down your rational thought, then we have no choice but to stay underground. So the founder of the entire reason this facility is underground is because the founder couldn't bear to be outside anymore. Because of some loss that is probably pretty obvious what it is, but I'm not going to say it. Let us start anew, the corporation that mourns her. I wonder who she is. It's totally not someone who's been mentioned repeatedly that is also dead, according to Netzak's cutscenes. But now we finally can open disciplinary with Gebera. Adding our new abnormality from the end of the last episode into the facility. Hello and welcome back to the Lobotomy Corp. This is the first day in a while we've been able to do as much training, or we are able to do as much training as we want, and I will relish that opportunity, because it's been a bit. So we have, the plan for today is to have Pesca move to safety and work with DRV, Corbinian move down to Central and work with Letitia, and Li Chang also doing that, and Shepard also doing that. Actually wait, no, Li Chang should work with Big Bird, because we have another temperance trainer now. There we go. Marie's gonna work on getting new boy, and other things will probably pop up as I think of them during the middle of the day. Oh yeah, Among Us has to work instinct with this, because I really want Among Us to get the gift. Today's Shylock. That's what I was trying to remember. Let's do the day. Il Pianto Della Luna, or as I'll refer to it as, just from now on, La Luna, is a Wa abnormality that does white damage. Although its insight works are its highest, it cannot actually work insight because it's replaced by a special work type, performance, and therefore it can really only be used for attachment training, and it's not really great at that. That was a dumb sentence. It has a Quilthoth counter of 3, which has a chance of lowering on a normal result, and it always lowers on a bad result or when using a special work type, performance. Regardless of how high its Quilthoth counter was prior to starting a third performance, it will always drop to 0 afterwards, additionally. While an employee is using performance, they will begin to play the piano. While they are playing the piano, which lasts the entire duration of the work, everyone in the facility will have their temperance boosted by a whole 10. Wowie. And after the performance, the employee's HP is halved. This ability is pretty useless, and it really just functions to make it not able to train insight, which is a darn shame. Because it can't really train anything super well, it's not a great abnormality for training, and its suit is just okay. It's 2 times weak to pale, which is not good. I would much rather be 1.5. But the rest of its defenses are fine, although I'd rather that 0.4 would be in either red or black, not white, but whatever. Realistically, the best part about this abnormality is its weapon, which has a special ability. Occasionally, it will perform a special attack that gives everyone close to it a black shield, making this a pretty good abnormality for fighting something that does black damage. I mean, it's a pretty good weapon, not an abnormality. Other than that, aside from its gear being decent, it's not really something super great. I mean, there are much worse abnormalities to pick, it's just kind of there. It doesn't really help your facility develop too much. And yet again, we're beginning the day with our glorious failure cam. I cut in a bit early into this one. It's just to show why it happened in the first place. We had a green noon pretty early into the day, as has been happening pretty frequently. But this is the time I decided not to take it super seriously because I felt like our facility stats were up to snuff. They probably are, as long as you're smart and don't leave a person working today's child look when it starts. Oh, and today's child look rotates on angry. Yeah, so Among Us died. And that's not all, because I was so distracted by Among Us dying that I forgot the other person who was a fragile newbie that I had. And then Big Bird also breached. So yeah, that did not go very well. Oops. As they say. Realistically, there was no reason that should have happened, by the way. Just a really bad series of screw-ups. I wasn't taking Green Noon seriously enough. Even though it's not really a threat to most of our agents, people who haven't trained Fortitude is still a threat to. And Among Us and other one, whose name I can't remember, the guy who's in safety and he has the short hair and his name is Shepard. That's his name. They haven't really. At all. I mean, it's level 3, but it's because of HOD's bonus. Anyway, back to new attempt. So I'm repressing Luna not because it's good. It's in fact a very bad work type for it. It's just because there's something we're doing later that's coming up that I want Marie to have over 110 in all of her stats for, and she does not have that. She will not be in she's not in the proper range for repression / justice, and she should be after a couple repressions. That's the best I can explain without spoiling what I'm trying to do. Although it's probably pretty obvious if you know the game well enough. We do need to hire a new Tin Man worker. Zhong Sang Min is too close to the I screwed up yesterday and had Zhong Sang Min and Li He Chang alternate Temperance with Tin Man. That's why I'm training Li He Chang in Temperance now. Li He Chang was meant to stay the Tin Man worker until I no longer needed that role. Tin Man can't melt down anymore, but we still want a Tin Man worker for reasons. We will be hiring a new one tomorrow. Actually, we can wait a bit. I just realized I don't really need one for that day. Implying things. We had Christopher move down to train repression with Snow White's apple. In general, we want to be using Snow White's apple to train people because we want to try to farm for its gift. If we can get 3 people with Snow White's apple's gift, its weapon is a lot stronger on those people than it would be ordinarily. It's like a +4 or 5 to min and max damage, which is pretty good. No one has the gift so far, and it's more efficient to try to do it with people who still need the training in Justice. I have to admit, it is nice having good Justice trainers for once, even if we're not really using one of them. Among Us is just occasionally doing Instinct. There's a lot of irons in the fire right now, so it's kind of hard for me to alternate between all of them. I can finally not play at like speedrun pace, so it's kind of nice, honestly. I don't really like playing Chestnut's missions that much. I always find it a bit exhausting. Especially because I always do them in the middle of the course. Well, not always, but this playthrough I did. Not my first one. I only did net sacks under the speedrun conditions the first time. And it barely changed how difficult net sacks is. Because like, Chestnut suppression, it's already like encourages you the best strategy for net sack. Realistically, I probably should have had 2 people alternating on Big Bird instead of Letitia. I was going to originally have Pesca work with DRV. That's why she's in the kimono, because it resists white a lot. And Shepard is already wearing the really good white suit. I'll probably keep her in that for a bit, just because I like how it looks, but and like no one else is ever gonna have a reason to wear it. But then I realized that your temperance is not very good, and I'd rather have people with good temperance before they start training anything else, just because temperance makes you have more positive boxes, and positive boxes influences how good the training is. Temperance and justice realistically are the best two stats. And this is me taking a green unit seriously after a 1 forced to reset last time. This is the entire reason why I cut this part in. The strategy of separating everyone to deal with the green unit separately was not inherently flawed. I just did not take it. I just left a lot of newbies in hallways where they would have been slaughtered by green nunes. I had to start it in a different way this time, just so that no one would be immediately murdered. That guy's taking a bit, but you can just, but she won't die. I can just top her off with a heal bullet and let her ride. Or they. I don't really know what gender Eke is supposed to be. I never talked to Eke's Tumblebug backer. Mostly because they're Korean, presumably. And also because, I don't know. Among Us still doesn't have today's child look squished for somehow. It's kind of annoying. Because like this entire reason why he's been working with today's child look for like 3 days now. But whatever. A lot of meltdowns down in the middle there, but that's the only place that can happen now, so. Right now, the majority of the meltdowns are just being influenced by Tifereth, which is to be expected because it's like there are like 13 abnormalities and 8 of them are in Tifereth's area. Once Tifereth's meltdowns are shut off, we'll start seeing a lot less, I think. We are already seeing a significant, we're seeing like half of what we used to, just because of all the upper layer abnormalities being gone from the pool, but optimally, I'd like to see 0 meltdowns. Although, I mean, meltdowns can sometimes be a bit helpful, I just don't really like the attention tax they present. Words. Just because of the, you know, Quothoth overload not increasing on meltdowns. That's the word I was trying to remember. If I proceeded through dusk, it would be amber again, but I have no reason to proceed through dusk, so we are ignoring it, as is typical. A lot of the later works are just, I figured people working in WAS had probably capped stats by this point, so I'm focusing on people working the less efficient abnormalities. And La Luna is no longer being worked because I have all of its gear, and there is no reason to continue working it because it's not good at training, as I iterated or discussed or whatever you want to say earlier. Letizia's a bit power crept by Big Bird for the role we're using her for, Temperance, but I don't know, I like her. She's forgiving. She won't kill anyone, hopefully. She kind of has another cousin for Justice in the HEs that's another really easy to work with abnormality, but I don't think we're going to see it unless it shows up unexpectedly later on. They're just trying to pass the point where HEs are common. It's probably going to be like mostly WAS and a lefts from here on out. Honestly, I kind of want a lefts. I'm a bit under-geared for where I'd like to be. But whatever. I think WA is the heaviest. There's the most WAs of everything in the game. I'm not sure though. Anyway, that's the last work, and now the day will be over. What a beautiful work. So we should see a lot of smaller growth everywhere, and yeah, that's about what we're seeing. Zhongxing didn't quite cap Temperance, but it's up to level 5, which is nice. Christopher did cap Justice, and Shepard almost capped Prudence, and also almost got level 5 Justice. which is nice. So far no one's gotten Snow White Apple as a gift, which is kind of annoying because it raises the attack of its weapon, which is something I've trying to get. And think Pesca and Corbinian would cap Temperance since they were alternating. I'll probably have one of them switch to Big Bird and the other one work on that tomorrow. Probably Corbinian on Big Bird. Yi Chang did cap Temperance though. Just because Corbinian's Temperance ended up slightly lower than Pesca's, and that's just how the cookie sometimes crumbles. I want to get Temperance capped before anything else, just because Temperance raises the chance of getting positive boxes, which is important for your grinding stats. Those are my amazing thoughts of the second. But we still have to pick a new abnormality for disciplinary. There is literally nowhere else to put it, so... FO258 still didn't matter to him. After all, he was destined to be a big bad wolf. This is Little Red Riding Hooded Mercenary's enemy that I mentioned earlier. 0466, even if it turns out to be a curse, I will love this curse like a blessing. These are both laws. This one is what I want, presumably, unless this is something really good. 173, this is something really good. All that remains is the Hollow Pride of a Withered Knight. So I want 2 or 3, but I could realistically want everything. Everything's a wall, everything has good equipment. 273 does have a secondary effect, which is nice, that I would definitely want in my facility, but I'll take anything, really. Number 2 is the best for equipment, number 3 has a cool unique effect, number 1 exists. And I rolled number 1. Hooray. And now it is time for Bird Lore the Third, because this is the third bird that has had lore in this playthrough. A large, many-eyed bird that patrols the dark forest with an everlasting lamp. Unlike regular birds, it lacks wings and has long arms instead with which it can pick things up. Omitted would stare intently at anyone it found, young or old, and bite their head off. There is a tale of a beast that lies in the deepest dark part of the forest, which dazzles creatures away never to never be seen again. To protect all creatures from the beast, the big bird burned all of its feathers to make a wick, and then made a lamp that would burn forever. With this eternally lit lamp, the big bird wandered the forest, warning the creatures to not stray too deep into the trees. Thanks to the large bird, fewer creatures fell victim to the beast in the forest. However, it was still concerned for the creatures still being killed by the beast. An idea struck the big bird's mind. If I kill the creatures first, then no one would be killed by the beast. What a great idea. This is not part of the lore. Okay, this is part of the lore again. Since then, only rumors of a beast that would bite your head off flew across the dark forest. It is said that the beast carefully examines and stares at its victims to see if they are the beast that lures helpless creatures away. This is a tale from a town in the location redacted area. We heard the tale from the town's oldest inhabitant, redacted. Although there is a general assumption that the tale is told to prevent children from entering the forest, it is uncertain who first inherited the tale. We can't do anything while the abnormality has its eyes open. It stares intently, and as it keeps staring, this is why we need to keep it to sleep first. We can only begin working when all of its numerous dozens of eyes have entered into slumber. When it turns out the tale was not made up, we could find this large bird in the forest. Right after that, we tried to look for the beast that dazzles people. We searched through every nook and cranny of the forest, investigated every single creature in detail. A month later, we came to this conclusion. There was no such beast in the forest, except for that big bird. This abnormality is completely ignorant of the common perception of death. The abnormalities that reside in this corporation can be placed into 2 different categories. The first category is those who understand perfectly well what the concept of meaning and death is, and who attack our staff with the intent to kill. The second has those that are aware of the concept of death, but attack without malicious intent. This abnormality we've contained here fits into neither of these 2 categories. To this bird, death in itself is just salvation. If it just ripped off the head of a poor little girl who got lost in the forest, to it there was no mistake, malice, or murder. It thinks it just saved the girl from the beast. What a beautiful story that I did not read very well.